I'm obsessed with watching golden era Muay Thai, but then also, I don't know what you would call the era, but like the 2000s to the 2015s-ish. So Pet Boon Chu was my first big inspiration for my style. But I always combine a trip to the UK with coming down, staying with Dan McGowan, two-time world champion, and training with him, because he's my coach. So any chance I get, I come down to train with him and his team, and they treat me so good, and it's just home here. I don't want to say a simple style, but I got a very clear style. So he tells me what I need for my style. I just go and work it. I got a really good assistant coach / pad holder, Saba, and he holds pads for me like every day. So I do a lot of pads with him. For my style, strength and cardio are paramount. So I do a lot of strength and conditioning work with Sodiris from Spear. I do a lot of work with him. I do strength and conditioning like 5 days a week. It's super important. So that kind of takes precedence when I'm in Cyprus, and then I just work basic stuff on the pads. And then whenever I can, I come over here and I learn and I hit pads with the master. Well, I found out I was going to have my first child, so it was a surprise, but a nice surprise. And I was like, I'm going to have a son, and my son's going to ask me about something difficult one day, and I'm going to tell him difficult things come up and you got to go through them. Have I done that? I had a big injury. I injured my neck. I hurt a disc. And then as I was recovering, I got hit by a car while I was riding my motorcycle. And that car hit me right in the face and really fucked me up and hurt my back and hurt my neck and hurt my brain. And it was a really difficult comeback. I always wanted to fight. Even the thought, I would imagine, I would visualize, I booked a fight. This adrenaline rush would almost like incapacitate me. I was so anxious. And I was like, okay, well, there it is. How can you be a hypocrite to your son when he says, Dad, I've got to do this thing, it's difficult. How can I say to him, well, you got to do it, son? He's like, did you do it? I'm like, no, but you got to do it. I have to do it if I'm going to tell my son. And then I had a semi-pro fight, which in Cyprus we do with protection. But you know, I took that fight and the anxiety consumed me, but I had a good mental coach who taught me about anxiety pointing to something. Anxiety points to an important event. You're not going to be anxious about going to Sainsbury's. You're going to be anxious about a fist fight, right? As the fight gets closer, my anxiety starts to drop away and the warrior spirit comes out. You know, some people are made for this. And despite my anxiety, like, I'm made to fight. Kind of by the time fight week arrived, I was like, I am so ready. And fight day, I was just ready to go to war, whatever happened. And it was a big show, by the way. It was a proper show. It was one of the biggest shows of the year in Cyprus. Live streamed, like big screens, packed stadium, arena. And I'm just in the ring and I just felt so where I needed to be. I don't know that I've ever felt so at peace than in that moment, in that chaotic moment. And you know, he starts walking out and he plays this like tribal music and he's walking really slow. And I knew he was trying to psych me out because he knew his advantage was experience and level. But I knew that my advantage was I was going to beat the shit out of him. And he's playing this tribal music it challenged me and I put my hands out and I shouted to him, I said, come battle me. And he looks at me and I'm like, come battle me. And I'm walking around the ring and I'm shouting, come battle, let's battle. And I turned into this absolutely, just an absolute silly Billy, just walking around shouting. And he gets in the ring and we start and I just battered him from the beginning and the fight finished and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. Anxiety is one thing, do you know what I'm saying? it does not dictate who you are or what you do. And I realized in that moment, I had anxiety because I'd had some severe injuries. I'd had some, car hit me in the fucking head. I got offered an A-class fight out of nowhere. I wasn't planning it. And then he pulled out like 2 weeks out. And I was co-main event, and it was a big show. It was a leapfrog show. And I was like, I have to fight. So I got offered a replacement, and it was the #1 in Cyprus, ISKA national champion, hundreds of amateur fights, 8 pro fights, great record, hard hitter. And I just went like, I said to myself again, like, who are you? Like, who are you? Are you gonna say yes or are you gonna say no? Like, who are you as a person? And I just said yes to that, and I battered him as well. Not as badly as the previous guy. And he battered me too, don't worry. Like, this fight, we battered each other. So I was a big fan of Dan's from watching his fights. I thought he was just the coolest and such a good fighter to a level that like basically nobody can ever reach except for like people who are blessed. And then Savas Michael, who obviously is one of the greatest foreigners to ever do it and currently do it. We became really good friends in Cyprus because we started doing our S&C together. Basically, I showed up to sparring with him and he just beat the living daylights out of me like 5 or 6 times. And I just kept coming back and he was like, okay, he's not going away. So we kind of made friends. And then I said to him, listen, I go to this guy who is a PhD in clinical physiology or something like that. He's like the top of the top. Come do strength and conditioning with me. You're like fighting in one championship. You shouldn't have just like a PT. You need a doctor. You need someone who's gonna like turn you into superhuman. So he started coming with me and we became really good friends. And he was so generous to me. Savas helped me so much with my style, my training, and my career because of connections. He invited me to go on his seminar tour of the UK. And one of the seminars was at Dan's old gym. And so I went and I did the seminar, and then I was really lucky enough to hold pads for Savas and Dan. And we made friends kind of from there. We went for lunch, and then we kind of kept up communication, and I booked him for a Muay Thai retreat in Cyprus, and we just built a friendship. And then at some point, like getting down on one knee, I was like, Daniel McGowan, will you please be my coach? And he was like, yes, 1,000,000 times yes. Talking about it, we were talking about my clinch and saying like, imagine if I was actually here getting like hard clinch rounds every session, how much I could progress versus how much I have progressed. So it's definitely not ideal. But he gives me, I'll tell you basically how it works. He teaches me a bunch of stuff. So I come for a week, or last time I came for 10 days. And then I'll go back to Cyprus and I'm obsessed with training. So I'll train 3 times a day with nobody telling me to. I'll do Muay Thai in the morning, S&C, Muay Thai in the evening. I do all my sparring, bag work, pad work with my assistant coach, Saba. And I'll just focus on what Dan has told me to focus on. So a lot of Muay Thai is just reps. Everybody wants to do like fancy shit, but really it's like, he says like, you should probably throw the elbow here. This is a good time for the elbow. So I go and say to Saba, when this happens, I'm supposed to throw the elbow. Saba goes, okay, I'm gonna do that for you then. I throw the elbow. We've just trained under Dan, but he's not there. The biggest thing is that Dan just gives me confidence. So he's been there, done that, wore 1,000 t-shirts. He's like, if it hadn't been for his hand injury, he'd be the most famous Westerner. He gives me confidence. So for example, I got offered an opponent for a show in a couple of months. And I was a little bit like, oof. I mean, I know I've jumped straight into A-class with 1 fight, sorry. So I know the level's gonna be difficult, but I was like, oh gosh, that's pretty tough. And Dan goes, oh, you'll beat him up. And I was like, oh, I'll beat him up. Just like that. I needed somebody who was gonna give me the guidance that I didn't have. And Dan does that from overseas. I'll send him a message, he'll guide me. There are some things I don't know, and I'm very clear about that with my students. I'm like, we're gonna learn this together, and we have. But at the same time, I have a skill for holding pads, and that's what people love to do. I have a skill for running a class, and I have a skill for leadership. What really matters is what you do for the person. And him saying, this is my temple, this is where I come to relieve stress. He's a high-level executive. That means the world to me. So, you know, family, their home, their safe place, their community, and that they feel that they're getting care and learning authentic Muay Thai. Those are the things that I want them to say. I make sure that as much experience and expertise I can get without having fought at the highest level, I get it. So I believe I've got everything under that in-ring experience, and that's what I'm setting out to do now. And that's why I'm not going C class, B class, A class. I'm like, if you're gonna beat me up, hurry up and do it. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to achieve. You gotta achieve. If you have that drive to achieve something in your life, you just gotta do it, right? And I make sure I get enough time with my son, because that's the one thing that I don't want to ever happen, is my son to say I wasn't there. My son will have, and does have, the most present father. I love my son more than I love my own life. It helped my technique a lot, and it helped me like focus. Not on the flashy, but on the fundamental, because I would have privates and I'd go like, 1-2 slip, 2-3-2 slip, 3-2, 5-2, 6-2, 5-2, 7-2, 89. You know what I mean? And it's like, that fighter didn't get any better. And then I had another fighter and I was like, oh, what if I just do jab kick, jab switch kick, jab knee, jab elbow? And that fighter got better. And I was like, oh, that's how you get better. I started discovering the pathway for myself, because at the time I didn't have a coach. When you're sparring with your students, you've got your coach's hat on. So you're not gonna fucking like ping them, you know? You wanna let them work, because they're not as good as you, because they're your students. So I started like diminishing my own level. I started bringing it down to help my students, and I found that that was affecting my fighting. So now I have to mix it up. That's partly why I travel. When I come here, I'm not coach, I'm fighter, right? I come in, everybody's the same as me. I'm not like, yeah, I own a gym, I'm this, I'm that. You guys are just fighters. I like to fit in as like a fighter. And I'm below all these guys. They're all like high-level A class. Like I'm not a top dog here. I just get to come in and like be a fighter and learn and separate those two. And then when I go back home, I'm coach again. Fighting doesn't mean that much money. I have a successful gym. I have a family to provide for. My family's only going to grow. The need for money will only grow. The gym has to take precedent, right? Making money has to take precedent. You have to be a responsible father and husband. You can't be selfish and go, but I want to fight. No, you have to take care of the people who depend on you. And I have what I would say is quite a unique style, especially nowadays. It didn't used to be, but now nobody clinches that much. You know, this guy I fought, on paper, I should never have beat him, but I just did, because I have certain attributes and a certain style that works. I'd love to win a belt, but that's not why I'm doing it. I dream of winning belts, but that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to prove to myself that I'm brave and courageous and capable of doing these incredibly difficult things. I have these different goals. I'm gonna run the train till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made a joke to Dan, because he was talking about my style. I said like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do until somebody knocks me out, and then maybe I'll start doing something else. I am a fighter. I'm ready for war always. And I'm gonna bring that into every fight I go into. And if one day I find out that it's just not enough anymore, and I can't justify the work that I have to put in, like I can't come to dance for a month and leave my son behind for a month and leave my gym for a month. But if I don't come for a month, I can't compete at this level, I will have to stop. But that's okay with me. I'm in this for me. I'm in this for my son. I just want my son to be proud of me one day. I want my son to be proud that his father was a fighter. I love Muay Thai. Muay Thai is my passion. It saved my life. It gave me a livelihood. It made me somebody. And I see how much it helps other people. And Muay Thai is bursting at the seams right now, and it's at the same time flourishing and at the same time struggling to grow. Promotions are popping up and then dropping, popping up and then dropping, you know, you see. I'm gonna invest a lot more into the gym. So as the gym grows, I'm gonna hire more coaches. I'm gonna get really, really high level coaches to help me out there so that the quality doesn't drop, because that's our priority, is quality training, authentic Muay Thai. And then when it comes to a fight, I am not somebody who takes fighting lightly. We're two warriors stepping into the ring to see who goes down first. That's how I like to fight, that's how I want to be fought, and I can't take fighting lightly. So when I do a camp, I'm in the middle of like a 5-month camp right now. I'm not fighting for another 3 months. I've been training for this for 2 months. I've got the best nutritionist on board, Dr. Sean Aspinall. I've got the best strength and conditioning coach, Dr. Soldiris. I've got the best Muay Thai coach, Dan McGowan. You know, I couldn't be taking it more seriously.
Slight difference. Would you say your son is proud of you?
I don't know if he's proud of me right now, but I know he knows how much I love him. So that's more important right now. I know he's only two years and 2 months, so I don't know if pride factors in there. But I know he knows how much I love him, and that he's so cherished and protected. And then in 5 years or in 3 years or whenever it is, when he's bragging about me to his friends like I was about my dad, he'll be proud of me. But, you know, if I'm being totally honest, Ahmer, like, he'll be proud of me for other more important stuff. He'll be proud of the way I treat his mum, he'll be proud of the way I treat him, he'll be proud of the way I treat waiters and, you know, petrol station employees, and that's the more important stuff, like to be kind and gracious and generous. And these are the real values in life. But I know for a fact, if he asks himself the question, was his father a coward? He'll know the answer is no. And he asks himself, was his father a hard worker? The answer is yes. Was his father willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish what he was trying to accomplish? The answer is yes. I want him to take like some kind of inspiration for his life, because life is hard, as we all know. And your job as a father is to give this example to your son and your daughter, but it's a different kind of example. To give an example to your son of what it means to be a strong man in a world of cruel men, right? Don't be cruel, be strong. They're different things, but we often mix them. But how do you be a strong man while maintaining integrity and a gentle nature? And I want to model that for him. Yeah, he's gonna know that about me. And I know he'll know that about me because I'm gonna make it happen.